The Global Latin Factor Podcast.
Welcome you and all to another episode of the Global Latin Factor Podcast, where we talk about, say it with me, Latino everything. Make sure you do me a favor. You ready? Just go subscribe to the channel. Go follow wherever you're listening to. Why? I'm going to tell you why, because it's very important. A blog did a 100 best Latino podcasts, and that was as of November 17, 2022. And your favorite podcast is on the list, number 56, with a year and 7 months in. And I think it's pretty dope. And that's because every single one of you goes and follows and checks out every single of our episode, follows. So we got a long way to go. Number one, I'm not like super competitive, but you always want to be the number one because we want to be an authority in Latino content, and we need your assistance. So do me a favor, go subscribe. All right. And now we have a very special person here today. We have our first generation graduate, woman entrepreneur, volunteer, project engineer, the real Bob the Builder, Naomi the Builder. She has a bachelor's in architectural engineering from the University of Texas in Arlington, or UTA. She works for one of the biggest contractors in the U.S., the Whiting Turner.
Whiting Turner, yeah.
Whiting Turner, my bad. That's the Mexican in me. And you can find her around the DFW area pushing her paleta cart, a.k.a. popsicles. We have Naomi Borrego, a.k.a. Naomi the Homie, not your typical paletera, owner and founder of Putas Paletas, LLC.
LLC.
Did I get everything right?
We're certified, yes.
Sometimes I say everything and I don't know if I missed anything. I'm pretty sure there's some
That's
more.
like my whole life. I think we're done.
I'm pretty good at that, right? Wrap it up. Hey, cut. All right, here we go. Before we get started with the interview, we're going to do a segment that I like to call Preguntas al Chile.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Sure.
They're going to be tough. Everybody says they're ready, but tacos o tortas?
Tacos.
Okay. Corn tortilla or flour tortilla?
Corn tortillas. If it's handmade.
If it's handmade. Gorditas o sopes?
Sopes.
Sopes. Mexican coca o jarrito?
Jarrito.
What flavor?
I like mandarin.
Mandarina, okay. Agua de horchata, jamaica, tamarindo?
None. Limonada. I just love limonada, yes.
Nothing wrong with that. I don't have that one listed. Okay. Menudo o pozole?
Menudo.
Salsa verde, salsa roja?
Salsa verde.
Churros or flan?
Oh, churros.
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 Valentina, tapatio or Cholula sauce?
Valentina.
Favorite paleta flavor?
Ooh, it's going to be the watermelon chile.
The watermelon?
Yes.
Chile?
Yes.
Nice. That's
Or
dope.
you know what? Chamoy. I don't know. Chamoy.
Tough
Chamoy.
decision.
Chamoy.
Yeah, very good. All right. Last one. Conchas, the brown ones, the white ones, or the pink ones?
The pink ones.
I would guess. I did my homework. I got a pink cup. So
Thank you.
she can feel like she's welcome. And we got the cart here. If you see it, we're not trying to be vulgar or anything. This is just what she does. We'll talk about that here in just a few seconds. What comes to mind when you hear the word Latino, Latina for you?
Passionate.
I like it. Do you consider yourself a Latina? Do you care if anybody calls you a Latina? Do you get offended?
I'm definitely a Latina woman. Proud.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Okay. So you were born in Dallas, in the Dallas area?
No, I'm from Brownsville, Texas.
You're from Brownsville, Texas. That's where you were born.
Yes.
And your family is from Matamoros, Tamaulipas.
Right across the border.
Nice. Do you know
border
your parents' journey as far as over here? Is it your grandparents?
It's my parents' journey. So nothing like they met when they were young. They came here after I was born, just because since we are a border town, like it's really dangerous down there. So there was a lot of like stories about like trafficking.
Oh, yeah.
And so obviously like they have two little girls. They just wanted to be kind of in a more safer area. My aunt was living in Dallas, so she basically told my mom to come here. Right. We've been here ever since. My brother was born in Dallas, so yeah, we've been here my whole life.
How many years was that back?
I've probably been here for, how old am I, 27? Oh my God. So yeah, that was probably like I was 2 years old,
Oh,
not
yeah.
even. Yeah,
You're
like
a baby. You're a baby. Okay, so before you went into school and everything, we'll cover that in a little bit. You actually worked 2 jobs as a waiter, correct?
waitress. Yes, I've been a waitress since day one. Since I can first get a job, I was working at Babe's Chicken. Shout them out. And then I just kind of do all sorts of stuff in the cocktail. I did waitressing, cocktailing, chips and salsa girl. I was your bus girl. I did bottle service for a little bit, but I was just service industry all the way. They're the best when you're going to college.
Okay, so that's pretty much Babes is what the only one, or is there different companies that you actually
Oh no,
worked around?
so it was there. I've worked at Olive Garden. I worked at Papacitos. I've worked at Rio Bravo, the Mexican restaurant. I worked there. I worked at Waterproof in Dallas, Dakota Steakhouse in downtown. Where else? I worked at the Westin. I worked at a hotel for a little bit. I worked at the W for a little bit. I've been all over the place.
You had a lot of jobs. You had a lot of jobs.
Honestly, though.
And I bet this is probably good and true. You're a good tipper.
Oh, gosh, yes. You have to be a good tipper. Honestly, though, I feel like when I know that they're giving me shitty service, like I'm not going to not tip you, but like you're not going to get like 20%. You're going to get like, okay, fine, 18.
Tell people why it's important. If they're doing you right, like you can't reward bad behavior, especially.
Well, yeah, of course. But when they're purposely being rude, like I feel like sometimes even when I've gone to eat with my dad, like he might not look like he's got a lot going on, and maybe I'm not like dressed, but like when the way people treat you, like you can tell when they're just being really like nasty towards you. So in that case, like I'm always the type of person that I'm not gonna not tip you because I've been there, but also like I don't like to feel like I'm unwelcomed here, and I would never do that to someone. Like so, if I know better, then you should know better.
But if they're doing a great job, a great tip,
of course,
cause
yes.
some of them do make the living of it, right?
Yes,
because that's how you put yourself part of it to help your family and to school.
Of course, yes, definitely, and especially since like now I have a little more, so I definitely go and give a little more.
Oh yeah,
because I'm just like, I remember you.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Okay, so a friend of yours was yelling out, "Pásame una puta paleta." You wrote it down. And y'all were drinking. The idea started happening, and you just started with in 2021, June 19, and you came out with Putas Paletas. Is that kind of sort of a little bit how it happened?
Yes. So, I mean, it kind of all started when I would bar hop in Deep Ellum, and so it would be really hot sometimes. So I would just want like a paletero to please walk by. And like they wouldn't walk by, like you would have to walk to like the taco stand or whatever was around the corner. But there was just not a lot of like refreshing options. So I was like, man, I want to be the paletera. And so fast forward like a few months later, I'm at a graduation party with my friend, and I see that he has the cart just like sitting back there, and he's like, oh yeah, we're getting rid of it. So then I was like, that's where the idea just came from, like to sell it to me. And then I was driving down the road and I had just bought it, and I was telling my friends like, oh yeah, I just bought this cart, da 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 da. And that's when somebody was like, well, hand me a puta paleta. And so I was like, bet, that's the one.
That's cool. So what made you just like want to? Did they? Were they not gonna do it anymore? They weren't gonna sell no more paletas. They had no use for it anymore?
No, they just didn't have a use for it. Like he owned a car lot. I guess his brother owned a car lot, and he needed to get rid of it. I don't know. He used to have it at his car lot. That's, I think, the story that my friend told me. And the Brisenos, there's like 3 brothers. I love them. But they used to have it at their shop. So
okay. And then you saw the cart. You remember going to the club and wanting something, and you'd be like, man.
Because I was already drunk. I was
clicked. That's why I
drunk in Deep Ellum, drunk at my friend's house. I was like, hells yeah, this is a perfect idea. We're gonna do paleteras.
Cool. Do you remember the first time you went out as far as like selling paletas?
Oh my God, I was so nervous. I was so happy for my friends because I literally like they all showed up. It was great. I don't think if it was for the fact that like they showed up that I would have been as confident to like go back. Because it was so much fun.
Walk me through exactly what happened. So y'all got all together. Y'all were going to walk up and down the street.
Yeah.
And how many of y'all was there?
So, I mean, it was 4 of us when we got there. And then once we got there, like they all just started showing up. Like I found a little spot and there was like probably 20 people that were my friends. Were probably like
Really?
15 or 20 of them. And then the rest were just like other people that were walking by that just heard the music and stopped by.
Yeah, you can hear the bell.
Oh yeah, well I didn't have the bell at the time, but I did have like a loudspeaker.
Oh, you had a loudspeaker
I had
at
a
that time.
loudspeaker, and then we just vibed. It was a good time, and it made me want to go back.
Yeah. So that made it a little bit like addictive. Like, man, I want to go back over
Well,
there.
just because I didn't like it, how to explain it? Like the feeling of being out there and being able to do that, like watching people like slowly walk by and they're like quiet one minute and the next they're just like hey, and everybody's hyping each other up. It was just so lively to see that like you don't have to be in a crowded bar inside to just have out like fun outside,
Right.
even if it's for a few seconds while you're passing by with your friends. Like it's a fun time.
So you caught them while they were bar hopping to the next one. And
so it was like what I was doing.
Yeah, and how appreciative were they whenever they? Because I'm pretty sure the thought of you wanting a paleta and a hot day was not only you. Some other people had the
I've
craving.
had so many amazing girls be like, bitch, I've been looking for you. And I'm like, hey. And so they
You
just
found me.
drunk girls that just wanted just a paleta. And I would have waters or
Yeah.
something refreshing. I remember girls would get so drunk and they would just
Yeah.
sit there just right next to and honestly, like, I feel like it was a safe space because we had a lot of strangers where like they would just sit there for a little bit. They're like, we're going to stay here until we call our Uber or something. But like it was always very welcoming. So definitely people would stop by and just be thankful for the fact that there was refreshments nearby and they didn't have to wait in line somewhere.
Yeah, and after that, you started expanding to actually going inside the clubs.
Yeah, for some reason they were like, girl, come on. It was 3606. I like that bar. I would go and he invited me out one night and I was like, okay. The stripper was dancing on the cart. I was like, this is fun.
On top of the
Yeah,
cart.
on top of the cart. And from there on, it was just like more bars wanted to work with me or they just wanted me to come because a lot of people like they get hot. Like I've done a what's it called when they do like EDM music? Fuck, I can't
Like
think
a
of
festival?
it. No, it's like a late at night.
Oh, rave.
Rave. So I've
Rave,
done
yeah.
those and like they love it. Like everybody's just like, oh my God. And they're just dancing with it. And I'm like, this is great.
That's freaking dope. We had the car was up, so the light went out. But
we need
it's
to.
all good, so good. But it was in storage. Shout out to Chris, he's the homie that that brought it over. It's actually in storage already because it's getting kind of cold here in Texas. But we appreciate it. But if we can get it up, that's fine. If not, it's all good in the hood. We appreciate you bringing the beautiful cart, even though it's cold outside.
It is really
All
cool
right.
outside.
So what else what's been the highlight so far as like, so they allowed you to go into the clubs. Now you've been doing some private events, but what for you has been the highlight for Puta? And this is not me being derogatory, right? Putas Paletas LLC is what the actual business name is. That's what you will find it under. For you, what does it mean as far as the word? Because it could be derogatory, but for you, it depends on the content, right? It depends on how the person uses it, because a lot of the times a word that you might use, other person might not use it. So for you, what does putas mean, or putas paletas to you?
I just feel like, it's always felt like people use it in order to degrade women.
Right.
And in this sense, you're just taking the word and you're fucking going with it. Like you're not taking it as derogatory. You're taking it as, you know what? Like I'm young, I'm being safe, I'm doing what I want to do, and I don't give a shit what you're saying about me or what you think about me. Like I'm gonna have fun. And so that's what I feel like. I like the way the name expresses itself as just like exciting almost. And some people don't like it. I'm not for everybody.
They probably see it kind of rebelling against the norm.
Exactly, but I've done kids parties.
Right.
Literally.
Well, the thing is that whenever we're talking in conversations like your homies, pásame una puta paleta. Pásame una paleta, por favor, sometimes. But sometimes when you're with the homies, you would say something like that, right? So give me a popsicle, bitches. That's what it means too.
Exactly. No, I know my mom's always just like, eres bien vulgar. And I'm like, I'm sorry, Mom. Like, it's okay.
I mean, again, but that's what I was trying to get at, that the word for you is not exactly that derogatory term, as far as like that word doesn't have to be that anymore, or it's not about that. This is what you want it to mean for you, which a lot of the times it's just whatever you want it to mean, because words that I might mean something for me is not the same thing for other people, and it's okay. A lot of times we feel so empowered that we have to. No, you have to go with what I think is the word. What's the meaning of the word? Like, no, not necessarily. What for?
It's not.
Okay, going back to the previous question, what is the biggest highlight for you as far as Putas Paletas? What?
Ooh, that's easy. So I did this really cool event. It's called Sorry Papi. It's a group of girls that started this all-female reggaeton
From Houston,
party.
right?
Yeah, I did it in Houston, but it's from Chicago. The girls are from Chicago, and I just saw them. I loved what they were doing. I reached out to them, and I was able to get in their Houston spot. It was great. I absolutely loved it. Just being able to go and be with that many Latinas was so empowering within itself, because you're able to see that, like, oh my God, like these girls got your back. Like all of them, they were just like, I love you. And it was so much love and support that I really appreciated that. And I'm not from that city, so it definitely, it meant a lot to me to even go. And I actually have this girl that reached out to me. She wants me to do an event down there. And so in Houston. So now that kind of like opened that door for me. And I'm definitely wanting to go that route to start expanding to some other major cities in Texas.
That's dope. So what is that event about, the one that you had? What is it? A bunch of girls? Exactly what is it that they do?
It's just a bunch of girls. It's literally like you're going to a club, but remove the men. Remove the problem is what I'm saying.
We're not a problem.
Exactly. Like, honestly, we had so much fun. I don't think y'all understand.
Was it in a club? Or
it was in a club. We were in one of the
girls?
best clubs in Houston. Yeah, it was just girls. It was amazing.
And they rent out the club for
They rent out the whole club.
Nice.
Females, the DJs are all females. The girls that are presenting are females, and they're the reggaetoneras, like they're Dominican, and they're passionate. That's why, obviously. And then I definitely think they try to limit to a lot of female bartenders, but you know, we still have our guys that are working behind the scenes. So
that's pretty cool. And so you do like Houston a lot.
I love Houston.
Why is that? Why do you like Houston?
Because I feel like Houston is Hispanic. Every single time I think of Houston, I think of fucking trocas and las carreras, and I just want to go and like sing some corridos. And I don't know, I want to go with more Latinos that weren't brought up the same way as me. So I'm curious to see how it is over there. Do you think
there's a big difference between the Dallas Latinos and the Houston Latinos?
I think there's a difference. Well, I don't think it's that much, but I definitely think it's different. And I just think every spot, I always find a different Latino that was just brought up differently with different beliefs, circumstances, and it's nice to get to know that other side.
Yeah, because sometimes I don't think we consider that the environment where you come from, like that really shapes like a lot of who you are.
Yeah,
you know, like Latinos or Mexicanos from California are nothing like Mexicanos, Chicanos from Dallas, from Houston, from El Paso.
Yeah,
they're way and we're like the same, but it just depends on the environment, and it kind of makes us like different stuff. Yeah,
like we do have a lot of similarities, like the stereotypical similarities, but there's definitely a lot more heart in different places. So. Yeah.
Why do you like? I feel like you like those bigger events, but sometimes for whatever reason, I got a feeling that you do like smaller events because you get to spend more one-on-one with people. Why is that?
Yeah. So what's that bar that we go to in Bishop? Trove. So Trove is one of those bars that I've gone to, and I've been able to like get to know a lot more people on a personal level, and it's just amazing, like just having that conversation with someone that they're probably drunk, and honestly they're telling you like really great things, and it's those moments that they're having a good time. So you're not catching someone at a bad time. I'm always catching someone at a fun time in a great environment where they tell you a cool random fact about themselves, and you're just like, that's really cool. Like I would have never figured that if I was just here amongst you with like, you know, partying and at the bar. I wouldn't have thought of having this conversation, but since you stepped outside, like we got to have that. So.
Why do you like to spend time one-on-one with people? Is it fun to discover random things?
I like to know people. I'm very observant, and I feel like I like to get to know, like I said, like different types of people. I think it's fascinating how people think. I know a lot of people say that I like to argue because I'm a Capricorn, but I'm not arguing. I'm just expressing my opinion. And I think I like to know other people's opinions about, like, why are you here tonight? Or anything like that.
That's pretty cool. Okay, so you have merch that you had hats. and the website is not officially out yet, but I've seen a couple of the previews of certain things that you have. So what are you planning to have as far as merch, or what are you going to be pushing here in the near future?
It's definitely gonna be just like I want to do like hats. I guess I've always just been a really big fan of like country style hats, and
You know,
I
the fair
love
almost
pink.
took your spark, right? Because they had a lot of
Really?
hats that were selling with the lights too.
Ah,
Yeah, and
it's
pink.
okay.
And
It's
pink.
okay. It's fine.
Okay, but you have the
Supporting
hats,
them,
and what else?
supporting them. I have hats. I have t-shirts. I'm gonna definitely have bucket hats. What other hats? I don't know. A lot more clothes. A lot of cute tops. You know, somebody was on TikTok and they were like, "I'm here for the putas merch," and I'm like, "Girl, we're gonna have all the merch that like is for you to like go out." You know.
Tote bags, anything like that?
I don't know about tote bags just because I don't like them for the environment.
Gotcha.
But like, I don't know. I'm still digging out the merchandising part. I feel like mostly I want to start getting into more of like the paleta cart type of stuff, where the paleta cart itself is its own merch.
Okay,
Like-
so tell me about that, because you were trying to venture off into doing something different, because you already done it before where people didn't. You're a fun time. You look like you're a fun
Yes.
time whenever you're at a party. You can
Mhm.
just by looking at your IG, it looks like everybody's having a great time.
It's literally
You
what
know,
they say. They're like, they're just hiring a party starter. And I'm like,
It-
yeah.
I mean, it could be
literally
that,
it is.
but you found that some people just want to have the cart itself,
Mhm.
and is that what you're branching off to
Yes.
with this cart and different cards that kind of have their own look?
I think this one's just going to go away.
Really?
This is my baby.
Well, the light
like,
went out, so it might be a
kinda,
sign.
yes, exactly. It's old, it's rusty. It was my
Uh-huh.
first one. I think it's time to invest in some new ones, and it's going to be different colored ones. I'm also going to have like a day one where it's not going to have the neon lights. It's going to have more of like, I've always liked graffiti, and I've always liked a lot of
Ooh.
color. So,
You know a painter? I know a painter. You
oh,
need
then
one?
yes, I actually need that information because I've been trying to
Actually,
find somebody. But
I
yeah,
have
no,
the
I'm definitely
perfect
getting
one.
ones.
I have the perfect painter for you.
It's going to be fun. I'm excited to just be able to do that just because I do get asked for kids parties and then they're just like, what other sign do you have? And so I have different options. And so now that's going to kind of be a thing that gave me an idea to where it's like, you can kind of put your own sign on the car and
Gotcha.
you're able to like customize your own paleta experience.
Okay, so
So
how
it's
many
fun.
cars are you planning to launch within that? You have an idea yet, or how many? You're gonna
I think
invest
it's
on?
just going to be 3 for now.
3, and then
Mhm.
the themes are gonna be catered to the kids, catered to adults, catered to women, or
It's mostly
little
going to
bit of
be like a kids, and it's going to be weddings, and then it's going to be birthdays.
Mm.
So
Okay, so maybe this is a sign for this baby right here. I'm glad we have to see it first.
yes,
But the
it's
light
gonna-
went out, so it was the sign that it
It's
was
time to go away.
But
it's
y-
coming. But I want to keep it because one
Give
day.
them last few words if you're gonna
I mean,
retire.
this isn't the last time I'll see it. I'm pretty sure I'll have this for like an event or two.
A
I'll
real
bring the
short
little
goodbye, because he's
rusty.
gonna go for back with the. Give him a couple words. Like what would you tell him?
You know how I feel, girl. We don't have to talk about it. I don't hug
We'll
my
respect
friends.
it.
We love it.
We respect it. Okay, so that's dope that you're gonna be doing customized. I'm gonna give you the contact. Remind me to
Please
give you the
do.
contact for that painter, because he's really good.
Mhm.
And he's done all kinds of stuff in the DFW.
Of course.
So I'm pretty sure whatever you need, he will be able to accommodate. Louis the Great, shout out to my boy Louis. So he'll be able. So if you get to use him, he'll do you justice. Is what you're looking for. Okay, so I'm surprised that you actually. Let's go back to this one. You went pretty viral on a TikTok video
Yes.
for marching for women's rights and pushing the cart, and that's one of the great times y'all had together. And passing out, I don't know if you were giving them away or passing out waters.
It's all free.
Paletas.
All
Okay,
those
so
shit
tell me about
talkers.
that day, or how happened. It was 4th of July weekend, if I'm not mistaken. Right?
Yes, I am definitely known in my office to be the protester. I'm constantly going to bat for women's rights and abortion rights. I did it last year in Austin, and so this year I wasn't able to make the trip to the Texas Capitol, but I was able to come to Dallas, and it was all kind of like last minute. I
Right.
wish I would have had more refreshments just because if I would have known how many people were going to be out there. But it was just another thought. It was like, you know what can I do to assist? And I'm like, well, I have a moving like cooler. I'm going to just use it. And so we just filled it up with water bottles and some bolis, and we just had like passed them away because it gets really hot out
Oh,
there. I've
yeah.
gone to plenty of protests where I know that Like I knew in Deep Ellum, like I really wish someone would walk by with a paleta cart. I just knew that I'd want someone to walk by with like water bottles and some type of refreshing like item. And
Why
it
do you,
really helped.
why do you think it was important for you to protest or continue to protest for everything that has happened? As far as reversing Roe versus Wade or all the things that they're implementing right now to limit women.
I feel like because if we don't, then we're being compliant and we're allowing it to happen, and it's our fault if we keep allowing it to happen. So if I sit there and do nothing, then I'm part of the problem.
Okay. I know it's an obvious answer, right? But a lot
Yeah.
of times people wouldn't understand the reason why it would be important to
It's
be
I
out
mean,
there.
ever since this ever since this came into play,
Right.
you know, I've had friends affected by this, and it's not okay. It doesn't take, it's not a mental toll that I would want anybody to go through.
For
So
sure.
I definitely feel like, you know, I'm in a little more of a privileged position where, like, if it was to happen to me, like, I'm capable of handling the situation, but some people can't afford it. They don't have the resources or the help that I have. So I'm definitely fighting for those people. And I hope that, you know, this goes away, which I'm unhopeful. I did vote for Beto.
I just became a U.S. citizen not that long ago.
Mhm.
I was not a citizen, but I did, and I got to vote. And I see how it feels whenever you don't get the winning team, as far as that part. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? But
It's tough.
I think you're right. We have to say something as far as like having to say something, because, like you said, if you're quiet, if you're not really saying anything, you are really a part of the problem. Not to mention certain things that happen, that those situations have to happen, as far as terminating a pregnancy because of the mom's health or whatever.
Mhm.
I don't understand how the government can be involved in those conversations without having to be just the mother, her physician, and the family.
Of course.
I don't understand how the government can be involved with those decisions.
Exactly. And it doesn't even just isn't about like the women. It goes into play with like trans rights.
Right.
And that's really important because there's so many kids that lose their life because they can't be who they want to be. And a lot of people just kind of skip over that. And it's just like, it's really affecting not just, like you said, abortions. It's for women who are actually having health issues. And then on top of that, it's affecting children's and parents' choices to make their decision in transitioning, or I don't know.
I'm gonna debate you on that one, and not in a bad way. I just feel like, for me, I'm for anybody to do whatever they want to, right? But me,
Mhm.
logically, like, as a kid, I don't know what's the stats as far as what happens, what they do, and things like that. I just know that maybe after a certain age, people can make their own decisions to whether they want to change or not. Because a lot of the times, we don't even understand how hormones work and the things that go on in our mind during that time.
Mhm.
So I see what you're saying, but at the same time, I kind of see maybe a bigger age, a older age, to be able to make those decisions, because a lot of the times, even as teenagers, we don't really kind of sort of know where we are. I don't know the science behind the mental that they really feel that that's who they are. Maybe I don't know. It's a possibility, but I can see the argument of maybe older, and just like buying cigarettes or whatever, to make their own decisions whether they want to transition or not for kids. That's just my opinion.
But at
on it.
least having that conversation
Yeah.
to have that discussion on what age or what this or what that, like that would be a great option. This doesn't allow for that conversation
Right.
to happen.
I
So
agree
it's
with that.
like, that's where my thing is. It's at least
Got
talk
you.
about it.
No, you're right, and that's true. That's it's a tough conversation to have, as far as that in general. If you don't really fully understand it, I really don't. But I understand that people should be able to do whatever they feel like. I feel like sometimes, like I mentioned earlier, we feel like we're too much control over everything. They want people to see it our way
Mhm.
without having to know that they're an individual and they can do whatever they want to. For me, it's like, if you're not harming anybody, if you're not harming other people, then you should be able to do whatever you would like.
Mhm.
But if you start harming other people, then of course there's
Of
got to be
course.
something to be done.
And see, exactly. I'm always like open for other people's opinions, and like I'm always up for that. I definitely have a friend at work,
Yeah.
and he's Republican, and we talk all the time about our differences, and it's always good. Like it's not a debate or anything. We're genuinely giving each other our personal opinions about how we feel. And so he'll tell me sometimes, he's like, that's a Republican thought, and I'm like,
See, here's the thing about that, which so maybe this time around I voted a certain way, but I have no loyalty to that as far as if I feel it's beneficial to the general public, I'll probably switch the other way, or even with I might be problematic for some of the red and blue to go even a different route.
Yeah.
If I feel that it's mine. But what I think the problem is the two-party system, first of all. It's not enough options. And not to mention, it's really hard once you identify it as something to go against that because you're going against your identity, right? If you're a Republican and all of a sudden certain talking points, even though you might not agree, you identify yourself as a Republican. Guess what? You're going to fight with tooth and nail over that, even if you don't 100% agree with it, just because you identify yourself as this, just like if you identify yourself as Republican, a Democrat, whichever the case might be. And I think once we start getting those, we believe in those things, right? It's our identity. So if anybody that comes and attacks it, of course we have to defend it. That's why for me, I have no loyalty to either y'all mother truckers. I'm going to go whichever way I feel is going to help the general public for me, you know? So do you think, so you all the way 100% Democrat, or do you think one day if maybe the option or even a third party or whether it be a Republican that you feel that will be beneficial for women, let's say, for example?
I think I'd always be Democrat.
Cool. Okay, let's move on with this one because it's a tough conversation, but it's still, I appreciate your input. Okay, I'm surprised that you haven't been in a music video, or have you been in a music video?
Honestly,
and maybe I
somebody
missed it.
asked me, but like, no, I'm not. I don't like it. Like, I know, like, post a lot, but it's really hard for me. Like, I'm not good at the social media stuff. Like, I try my best. I force myself sometimes, but I don't like it.
And you're here today. I
I
appreciate
know,
it.
because it's behind the cameras, and I'm like, but I've been asked. I don't know how I'd act. I'm up for it. Yeah, somebody said like bring the car, and I'm like okay, like and then the conversation fell off. But I'm up for it. Be
good marketing for you and for them too. Just push the cart, or if they're willing to, compensate for your time, that would be great too.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's talk about something that happened to you that is pretty dramatic. You had an incident at a bar in where was it? Deep Ellum. You were at a bar and something happened. Can you give us details of what exactly happened that night and how did you get into this predicament or situation?
I got into this predicament because I am not for everybody. I am a very upbeat person, and so I was at the bar. I was literally just at this point, like I'm winding down from drinking.
So what time? Around what time?
This was it was about to be midnight.
It's about to be midnight.
It's about to be midnight, and this guy comes in with two other girls, and he has them like in his elbows, and like so you can kind of see him like pushing his way through to get to the front. I'm with my friend, and so like this guy's bumping into me. And I did it once. I'm just like, it doesn't matter. Like, I've worked in clubs before. I'm not the type of person that's like, like watch where you're going. Like, I've never been that. But like you can tell he was being like malicious about it. He just wanted to like push us all out the way to get to the front. And it's just kind of like, so all I did after he hit me, like I think it was either the second or third time at this point, I turn around and I'm like, hey man, like, can you just watch where your elbows are? Not in a like condescending way. I'm literally telling him just like that. Like
not
it was just
no effing bomb.
I'm
watch
just
your
kind of like, hey,
elbow.
like watch where you're going. Like, can you watch your elbow? Like I just do this because I'm just trying to show him that he's already hit me in the back of the head like a few times. So he doesn't say anything. He just looks at me and he looks at me ugly. But I'm just like, okay, like I just wanted to say it, but whatever. His girlfriend starts like talking shit to me. She just starts yelling at me, and I'm just like, I literally was like, nobody's fucking talking to you. And then I just turn around because I really wasn't talking to her. I wasn't trying to start anything. I had just attended a funeral that day and it was really hard. So I just wanted to go out and grab a drink. I was having a really good time with my sister. We hadn't gone out like that in a really long time. So, it was a great night. And then for that to happen was really ugly. Like, she starts arguing with me, and like I said, I turn around, I'm minding my own business. My friend who like he fights semi-pro, or he fights like Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu.
Right.
So he's just kind of like, come on, Naomi, like it's not a big deal. And he's like this tall black guy. And so I'm like, yeah, he knew I was having a rough day. So I just turn around, still just laughing. And like, I don't know how many seconds later it goes by. Like this girl like reaches over and she grabs my hair. All I know is I don't see her. She just grabs me and she pulls me and then she just starts hitting me. And so, one thing led to another. I hold my ground. They take my friend out because he's holding her boyfriend back. He said as soon as that girl started hitting me, her boyfriend started hitting me. And so he was like, so I grabbed him. He's like, he didn't think to like start beating him up. He just grabbed him because we did not want any drama. So, and all I wanted was for her to leave me alone. Her and her friends started attacking me. And so I'm just defending myself. I know like a little move that like I grapple her to the ground.
Self-defense.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I know my friend and I did study, like I did practice
Jiu-jitsu
a few things.
bit,
Like,
right?
yeah. So I'm down there, but I quickly know like I need to get up. Like somebody's about to kick me. Her friend who was still punching me, and you can see like the guy in the video. He's swinging at me while her and I are fighting, and so I mean he just pops a bottle on me because I was on top of her. I'm trying to get off
Pops
of
the
her.
bottle.
Yeah, he pops a bottle on me while I'm on top
Yeah.
or whatever the case is. Like we're on the ground, and he pops a bottle on my head. I didn't really notice. I just kind of laughed. I was like, oh shit, somebody just hit me. And so then I'm like, I need to get up, but she's still pulling me down, so I can't get up. And it wasn't until the bouncer like pulled me off and pulled us both off that we were outside. And once I got outside, I looked down and I'm just like, oh, I was like, my shirt.
So you were wearing a green shirt, and by the
Yes.
time it was over,
It
or the
was
pictures that
red.
I seen, you had 6 stitches.
I had
if I'm not-
16.
16 stitches
16 stitches.
on your face, on the right hand side of your face, and then you had like your shirt was no longer green. It was like a different dark
It was
color.
a brand new shirt.
Yeah,
It was a brand new outfit.
man. So you went after that. You went to the hospital. You called Mr. Chris, and then after that, Fox and Univision or Telemundo picked up the story and detailed exactly what happened. But at the time, whenever you had talked to Fox and everything, you were just talking about what happened. You had contacted the police and started giving them the footage of the bar because you're able to see it online still. And I don't know, you left at the story right there. I don't know if there's any updates because they haven't found the person at that time.
So they found both of them. They charged both of them. She got a Class A misdemeanor, and he tried getting charged with a felony, but the city of Dallas decided it wasn't enough for a felony charge.
Even with the video.
Even though this guy has previous offenses, it wasn't enough to charge him. He's gone off before. Like I looked at his criminal record. Once I found everything out, like I looked at his criminal record and he has multiple charges. And it's very disgusting to see that he just keeps getting let off. So at this point, like they don't want to pursue anything criminally. I'm going to go civilly because you owe me $20,000.
Okay, so did you felt it was right? Did you feel let down by the system as far as the police, even if they have video?
I
footage
definitely
of you?
felt left out because I'm just like, at the end of the day, like I don't think it's okay for people to be trigger angry. Like I did nothing to deserve that, and it's really horrendous to see that somebody who's been in previous like altercations can just keep doing it, and it's not enough for them to
I think
like
when
put a stop.
somebody
Exactly.
dead before they even able to do something, which is it'll
And
be
it's
too late, but it
horrendous
wouldn't matter, right?
to know that girl, she has 2 kids. She has a little girl, and I'm just like, what are you like? I'm not trying to say that she's a bad mom, but like, what kind of like woman stays with a man who physically assaults another woman?
Yeah.
And is okay with it. Like it doesn't make sense to me because as a woman, I would never be okay with seeing anything like that. I would never associate myself with a man that's willing to do that, let alone like stay and defend him.
And you would even try to have a conversation with her, right?
After I left the bar, I just remember because she was trying to leave. Like she was trying to leave. I didn't know who they were. I didn't know her name. I didn't know anything because the police were just trying to like get me to an ambulance. And so even when we left the scene, we were so worried because we were just like the guy was walking off and nobody was stopping him. The girl was like telling him to leave.
What
Like,
happened
hey,
to the bouncers?
the bouncer was there. He was getting questioned.
But he didn't bother to grab
Like
that guy,
nobody
like,
grabbed him is my thing. Like nobody grabbed him.
Man.
And it definitely felt like it was one of those situations where I'm like, this person's about to get away with it. And he technically did get away with it. Like
Oh, not yet. It's not over yet. But I'm glad you're okay.
Yeah.
First of all, and I'm glad. It sucks that the system is so messed up that even with the evidence that you had, everything and prior before, nothing is being done within the police department.
No, and it was up to me. Like, I had to constantly call my detective. Like, he was like, "Oh, you have video footage? Like, it takes a long time." I'm like, "We went the next day to go to the bar because we know how like it was a lot of footwork on our part, and it's gonna keep being a lot of footwork on my
but that's
end.
not your job though. That's
It's
their
not.
job to do and to act quickly.
But
That's
if
why
I don't,
yeah.
he gets let go, and I just kept telling myself like I'm not gonna let it happen. I'm just not.
You see what I mean? So I ain't got nothing against the police people, but you gotta understand the reason why there's distaste for things.
Of course.
Of something that happened that is, to me, is very obvious. And of course, there's different stories, but at the end, you have the video. And then he has priors, kind of, sort of like that. To me, it's only logical that it's going to escalate to somebody losing their life in the future, which I hope it doesn't happen.
I hope
but
so too.
Me logically thinking, it probably is going to happen. And kind of sort of, where he's going to end up at
because
the end,
he knows he just gets slapped on the wrist every time. Like, oh, I just have to pay this bond.
I wonder if he has any influence or anything like there as far as the reason why we wouldn't, or it's just the system in general.
I think it's just. I mean, we got told. I kept getting calls from attorneys, or I kept calling attorneys, and all they would tell me is that it's like that the district attorney doesn't want to have that many people behind bars, which is understandable. They don't want to crowd people. Like, I get it, but it's just, don't just shut it out. Don't just say, oh well, it's not this, so move on. It's
so they really wanted to get to murder before they actually able to act on it. And that's
so it's
messed up.
That's where it hurts me, because I'm just like, I get it. Like, I'm not at the top of the like that same weekend. I think I heard that, two kids died from a car accident from a drunk driver. And I'm just like, I'm by no means trying to say, hey, y'all stop what you're doing, trying to figure that out and help me. But like, a little bit more of a department that's willing to help with criminal cases that aren't as big but are still as effective. Like, I constantly get this from men, and it sucks.
And not only that, but it's the fact that he's still out there. And most likely, like you said, nothing happened at that time. And the likelihood is a possibility that something else could happen. Which, again, I hope it doesn't. But to me, it's only based on every movie that I've seen as far as criminals, it escalates to that. You know
and
what
literally
I mean?
all I did was make a comment, whether it was if he took it wrong, maybe he didn't take it the way that I meant it. Like, I said, I apologize, but like,
but there's no excuse
it's not,
to put hands on anybody.
Excuse.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, imagine if somebody actually pisses him off, like does something to actually like make him upset. All I did was comment something, and I can't believe that escalated.
That's not right either. You can't go into the world thinking that you can just push everybody around. I mean, one of these days he'll meet his match, but at the same time, it's not okay for anybody to put hands on anybody. Period.
No.
I'm all for like I verbally, I don't care. But when it comes to putting hands on people, that's just another level of disrespect.
I'm just like, we are grown. We are grown-ass women, and you have kids, you have children. Like, had things gone silent, like different, what would happen to your kids? Like things do escalate in a really ugly way. And I just remember thinking, like, I can't believe, like, I am 27 years old. I'm about to walk into a meeting for a $40 million building that I'm doing, and this is embarrassing.
Stitches.
It is so embarrassing. I had to go in there with my client, and honestly, I just remember walking out of there like bawling, because one of my coworkers mentioned, "Oh, look, we hire people from Oak Cliff, and this is what they do." And it was just like,
somebody said that?
Yeah, somebody said that to me, because they know that I am the minority in the office. So it was just really, it was an ugly comment. It was meant to be funny, but it was just at a wrong time, where it's just kind of like, yeah, I am the fucking, like, the girl that comes in with like a banged up head after a bar fight. Like, my boss saw me on TV, and I was so like, my God, they still joke about it. No, I wasn't looking for it, and they know me. They know my character. I might be a little wild, but I don't go looking for trouble. I'm not a violent person by any means.
I did see some ratchet behavior, but
I am a wild person. I'm not gonna lie.
Not that type, though. Not
no
that
soy
violent
santa,
type.
but I don't go looking for trouble. If anything, I'm always trying to stay out of it.
I was joking about the ratchet behavior, but
it's okay.
I probably
You're not lying.
I am see at Oak Cliff before, so but again. it doesn't matter though. Nothing justifies the comments. Anybody putting hands on other people. None of that.
None
So
of
that shit is not right. But I'm glad you're okay.
No, yeah. Me
And
and my therapist, Elizabeth, we're working
So
through
you're
it.
good mentally as far as you.
Mentally, I did have to see a concussion doctor. Her name's Lisa. I appreciate her and her sessions. It does affect me. I had to take a lot of like medication because of my headaches. It was a lot of nausea and just a lot of back and forth with doctors. I think it really took a toll with my work. And that's what really like pisses me off is the fact that like you not only like messed with my appearance, which I already like regardless, but you messed with my everyday. Like this is a really important job and I fell behind and I don't like doing that. I don't like feeling like I'm not capable of doing my job, and I definitely feel that with head trauma. It prevented me from being able to work as long as I could or, focus for as long as I wanted to.
Yeah.
So it took a toll, but it's better.
Mr. Chris might disagree about the appearance. Ever since y'all was little, but still. Okay, so going back into your work. So you are a project engineer, and you're working different projects. You're telling me you were doing just a project. I don't know if it's a secret or not, but
not this one.
Where did the idea of even going into engineering or becoming an engineer? Did you have a passion for it? Did you ever think you'd be yourself as an engineer? Did you see yourself as an engineer?
Honestly, I remember when I was little, I always wanted to be in construction. I feel like I would go into houses and like want to take walls apart, or if I see a structure, I'd be like, how's that being built? But I fell into engineering an accident. I was in high school. I had a group of guy friends that were in an AutoCAD class, and they would sit there and play Halo. And I had a theater class, and so I was like, I want to go play Halo with my friends. So I switched classes so that I could take an AutoCAD class, and we'd play video games, but we would only be able to play video games if we were done with our work. And so we'd have to like draft models or do stuff. And I was just natural at it.
What's AutoCAD again?
AutoCAD is like a software that you use for I guess making
like plans for
for
vehicles
plans,
or structures?
For anything. You can use it for vehicles, you can use it for structures, or like if it's a mechanical equipment. Like it's a drafting tool.
Okay.
And I was in that class. I was just good at it. I started doing SketchUp. And from there, my advisor just kind of kept going. And that teacher really was the one that put me in the civil engineer, or it was an engineering class. It was the first one at Cedar Hill. We'd never had a class like that. And I remember it was only two of us, two girls in that class. And I quickly became the captain of our engineering team. And we built a Rube Goldberg machine. After that, I kind of wanted to pursue engineering, but, unfortunately, certain situations happened with my family. I wasn't able to go to school, but my husband, he was going to UTA for civil engineering, and he was the reason why I kind of was like, I kind of want to go back. And so
tell him why though.
Yeah,
tell me why though, because you got a little competitive in you.
No,
right?
I am very competitive. I told him,
you can get a degree in engineering. I can get a degree. in engineering.
And you know what?
Kidding.
I told him, I was like, I'm gonna graduate before
and you. Did.
And I did. I graduated before him, working 2 jobs and still making it. And he just recently graduated. So
nice. Congratulations to both of y'all.
Thank
you. My brother graduated from UTA too a couple years. Well, it's been a few years back.
It's a great university. It's good for transfer students. I love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you went to school, you got your degree, and you just started applying, trying to see how did the opportunity with Whitten Turner.
Yes, Whiting Turner.
Whiting Turner. I keep messing it up. It must be that Mexican accent. Right?
I was so nervous because I had done 2 other interviews before I did Whiting Turner. There was this construction company, and I mentioned this because I was working at Waterproof as a cocktail waitress, and there was a construction company called Trearc that worked at the first floor. And the project manager would come upstairs and come downstairs. So one day I built up the courage to ask him for an interview. And honestly, it was really bad. Like they made me feel really bad. I didn't really like it. The vibes weren't there. And I didn't feel like I was feeling welcomed. So
What were the certain signs that you felt like that was the vibe? Was it the
I just felt like they didn't take me seriously. I felt like they were just doing it because like they knew that I worked in the building, which I appreciate for the thought, but it did suck a little bit feeling like they were just kind of like brushing me off, like any question that I'd get interrupted. So I was like, okay, at least this helped with my interview experience.
Right.
And then I went to another company, but that one was also, I was like, you know what, practice, like I'm going to go to another one. I saw Whiting Turner at my career fair at UTA. I was nervous. I didn't think I was going to get a job because I didn't have any internship experience. I'd only been working as a waitress. So, I don't know anybody.
Yeah.
My grades are obviously not like a 4.0. I was struggling to like just stay up.
Because you got 2 jobs.
Yeah, no, I asked my friends who know me, I would literally be at work like studying while I was rolling silverware or whatever. But anyways, I got hired at Whiting Turner, which, like I said, is one of the largest GCs in the U.S. And whenever he saw me again, they were like, oh, like, like his table was asking me what I did for a living. And I was like, well, I just graduated with an engineering degree. And they're like, oh, like, you should talk to our friend. And they pointed at the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then he looked at me. He's like, yeah. And then I was like, no, I already have a job. And they were like, where are you working at? And I was like, Whiting Turner. They were like, oh. They were just like, well, congratulations. And I'm like, yeah.
They didn't mean it.
Thank you.
They didn't mean it.
Thank you. I did it. And I did it without your little company.
Don't you like?
No, just great
Don't
people.
you like
but
enjoy hypocrites whenever you say thank you, but you don't really mean? Oh,
no,
congrats.
they're
Like,
definitely those
good
type
point.
of white ladies that like used to like, So I was like, it's fine. I'm somewhere where I'm wanted.
So explain to me, or what is for any Latina listening that they might be interested in engineering? What does a project engineer day to day? I know it changes differently, but can you kind of sort of walk us through a day or a couple of days of what you do?
Definitely. I guess for instance, like this morning I had an 8 a.m. meeting, but usually like you get to work, you try to go through your emails from the day before or whatever stragglers, or your subcontractors are up at 6 a.m. So they're emailing you. Anyways, after that, you usually do your morning meetings. From there, you start working on the tasks that usually consist of submittals. So like everything that goes inside of a building, whether it be like those window frames, your paint color, the carpet type, the border, the trim, anything, like we have to submit it to it. Right now, we're still doing like, we're at the bone. So I just finished doing like our civil stuff. We're working on like concrete. So I'm submitting anything from like slab stresses, columns, like beams, anything like that. I'm submitting it to the engineer so that they can approve it. From there, if there's any questions that need to be asked, I draft RFIs. From there, if there's any, like, we do BIM calls so that we can coordinate like the installation before we're even on site. Like we're coordinating in a physical model, or it's a 3D model, and everybody's contributing to it. Our electricians are contributing, our plumbers, our like everything. And so we get on those calls. We set up. We obviously take care of costs, so I have to make sure that payments are getting put in.
So you have a budget that you have to maintain.
Budgeting, it's definitely that. Or like if we hired our subcontractor to paint this wall, but then we added another wall, like that change is a change order. So now I have to like start with that process. So it's a lot of budgeting. It's a lot of like putting all the stuff. We're the middleman. I have an architectural engineering degree, so I should technically go into, I can get like my FE and then get my PE stamp and go my engineering route where I'm going to sit there and design. But I decided to go into the project management role, which is the middleman from the architect and the engineer and the owner. So
Do you like that because you get to deal with people?
I get to actually see what I'm building. So I get to take the plans that someone else like busted their butts like building, and I get to actually go out there and make it happen. And I'm involved in every step of that phase from start to finish. Like it's crazy how it all kind of goes full circle. When I was an intern, I really wouldn't understand it. Yeah. But once it goes full circle, you're just like, oh my God. I feel
like an intern right now. Like what?
Like the caulk joints that go into your walls. Yeah. Like I'm learning about those. And then next thing you know, like they're on the walls. And you're just like, this is coming together. Everything's fitting right where it needs to be. And it's amazing. I just manage people. I do quality control. I go out to site.
Sometimes you have to be there whenever they pour concrete, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Sometimes.
Yeah. I used to go there like at 2 a.m. Sometimes, remember? Oh my God, he'd hate it because I'd be up at like 1 a.m. and I'm like, I have to be at work at 2. and we'd
But
have
then
to
the
pour.
people that have to pour the concrete too, like heck.
I
no.
know. So I would stop complaining because I would be so cold, but I'm just like, I'm not actually doing anything. Like they're
Just
the ones
kinda-
that are actually in there and they have to be in the fucking
Heck
like with
yeah.
their mud, and it's bad.
Yeah.
And it's dangerous.
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
a
I
very
can
dangerous,
imagine.
like I pour like we pour now like big we pour walls on the ground now and then we tilt it up. So it's like a tilt up wall.
Oh, really?
So it's like
Is that a new thing they started
it's like
developing?
a newer thing because it's a cost saving and it's time saving. So it's a lot faster for you to build versus being stick build or whatever
So it's
else.
kind of like Legos now. Instead
Yeah.
of having to build it with what was it, the frame that they do it and then do the
Yeah.
concrete up. I'm just making it up. I don't know what I'm talking about,
We
but kind of
just
like that.
we lay a bed down, we pour
Ah.
concrete, and then we get a crane and we lift it.
Lift it.
So it's stuff like that. Now I'm gonna start learning about because I'm doing my first 10-story building. So I'm excited because I'm so new to the
This
process.
is yours.
This is mine. Well, I mean, I'm not the only one. It's a whole team of us. And it's great. I'm so excited to learn. I feel like I just keep wanting to do different stuff. I did a data center. I can't
Nice.
tell you which client, but it was one of the biggest ones here, and it was fascinating.
And
just
then the one you're
seeing
working
it.
is in Oaklawn.
Oaklawn, yes.
The neighborhood you be chilling by.
Yes,
So
yes.
is that the one that's the 10-story building one?
Yep.
Nice.
I'm gonna be right there. And
when is the projected time to completion? Or I just barely started.
no, so it's supposed to be. We're
Y'all broke
turning
ground
over next
recently?
year. We already broke ground. Like we're
You
pouring
like
our
those
beams
terms
right
that I
now.
be using? Like I know what I'm talking
Well,
about.
we broke ground like in May, but we demolished the existing building back in May. So there was
y'all
two
have to
existing.
do demolitions too and then
Mhm.
build them?
So I mean, once you get closer to downtown, there's very few spaces.
yeah.
This owner that I'm working with right now, they're buying up property, tearing it down, and building something.
Mm-hmm.
So we took two existing buildings and combined it into one huge one.
Oh, wow.
And it's like it's a parking garage, and then it's this like the 5 stories are offices.
nice.
So it's gonna be great. I'm so excited.
That's dope. Well,
Yep.
congratulations. That's awesome that you get to do all this. I think it's in our blood, in our DNA, as far as like Latinos being in engineering, because
Mm-hmm.
one of my brother-in-laws graduated from, I forget which one it was, but when they were saying engineers, there was a lot of Latino last names,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a lot of engineers that graduated.
Yes.
And I'm like, man, I think it's in our DNA, like Mayans, Aztecs, to build stuff, and it's within us.
we have
I
great
think.
problem solving abilities.
Yeah.
And it's great. I feel like a sense of pride when I can go out to the job site and when my workers find out that I'm actually Latina and that I speak Spanish, they love that. Like
Yeah.
they go crazy with the fact they're just like, oh yes, like I've had one of my superintendents, he brought his daughter to site and he was just like, I want you to show her what you do.
That's
So
dope.
I basically just kind of took her around the building. I kind of went through a checklist with her and
Yeah.
he was like, I want her to start stepping into this because I want her to take over my company. And so I've had that. I've been on phone calls with other guys' daughters that
Yeah.
don't know what they want to do. So like I'm just telling them about what I do. And they love it. So being able to talk to somebody that knows your language, I
Yeah.
feel like is really important to some of these guys because I don't think that they feel heard sometimes.
It's true, and the fact that it's pretty cool that, as I mentioned right now, the reason why I want you to talk about what you do is because, like, we do need people for people to look at women in the
Mhm.
engineering, and they are doing it. Like you are doing this, and it's pretty cool that he brought his daughter to see, like,
Yeah.
hey, we don't have to just be this. Look, she's doing it. You can be exactly like that, or whatever else you want to do in construction. But look, it's possible. It's not
Mhm.
something that it's a wall anymore. We can, open those walls and see, like, hey, there's people doing it, such as yourself. So
Exactly.
that's pretty cool. How hard is it to be a woman in construction and a Latina? Because you had instances where you had people cross the line and say some funny stuff to you,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have to stand your ground and say, like, no, that's not gonna happen. So how tough is it?
I feel like, honestly, I think one time I was just crying on my way home
Mhm.
because I had got into it with some guy that was just trying to degrade me or, just talk down to me and tell me that he's going to call my boss and, try to be the big guy on site. And it definitely does suck. Like, you get yelled at. Like, I've gotten yelled at by so many guys that feel like it's okay. HR has gotten to get involved with one of my old project managers who, he got loud with me. He cussed at me. And it's just kind of like, I'm looking around the room. I'm the only woman in there, and there's at least another 7 or 8 people. And it's just kind of like, it's embarrassing knowing
And none
that,
of
like,
them step up or say anything.
you know, they all did. Everybody did. But it's just the fact that, like, it still has to happen. Like, you would not speak to anybody else this way. So why are you speaking to me like that? And so it does get really hard. It makes it a lot tougher to go back the next day, because not only do you have to just, you know, brush it off, but you have to pretend like it didn't bother you, and that it's not gonna that it's gonna be the last time, because it's not. Like, that happened to me like a year after being on that project, and it's happened to me again like recently, where some guy started yelling at me. Or you get those guys that are just like, oh, honey, I've been doing this for this long, sweetie. Or like, it's just like, it definitely feels like you have to be even more of a B word in order for people to gain your respect. And I'm just not that person.
But they might want to see it like you were that, but that's what is required for the job to be done.
Definitely.
You know? And some people, because they're too accustomed to what they've been doing it, seeing a woman that has the qualifications that you need, all of a sudden try to tell them or suggest certain things, I'm like, they're not going to take it in. They're like, no, but you're going to have to do this, because that's what's going to require you to complete this.
And it's not
I'm
just
not a big fan of people that yell either.
It's also the fact that, like, a lot of these guys, I get it. Like, you have so much more experience. You know this better than me. I completely understand. Like, I don't know everything, and I don't pretend to know everything. But some of these guys like knowing that you don't know, and they make you feel bad for not knowing. So like, rather than teaching me and like having a conversation with me, you're basically like, you know, making me feel like I'm dumb and that I need to go and figure it out another way, or that I just don't know what I'm talking about, and they just blow me off. And I'm like, at the end of the day, like, you're going to build this thing the way I fucking tell you. So like, you can just look at me in my face next time you talk to me.
I read a book. Well, I didn't read the whole book. It was more of an audio book, How to Win Friends, Influence People. And sort of the things that I heard on the book, which again, maybe not apply because I'm a guy, but I use those in daily life sometimes, and it makes it maneuver all like easier. Like, okay, like certain things that you just like, okay, whatever you say. But at the end of the day, it's like, it's going to be my way, whether you want it or not. You might not. And then I make you feel like you agree to whatever you wanted to, but still do whatever I need you to do.
And that's the thing that sucks about being a woman in this industry, is that, like, you have to be, like, you have to brush a lot of things off. And in a lot of ways, you're just kind of like, how much of it am I going to have to just be like, it's okay, it doesn't bother me. It's okay, it doesn't bother me.
Because at the end of the day, you leave it at the work site and you go home, and then you know what I mean. It's gonna be there when you come back. So, and then just pick up where you left off. And then at the end of the day, it sucks that it happens in the professional environment that people want to act like children. But I don't understand why they don't understand that it takes all y'all to get it done and finished. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's gonna take
we're all
y'all
here to work. So we might as well just, and I'm always the type of person that I want to get to know my workers.
Yeah.
Like, I'll sit there and have tamales with them. Like, we'll sit there and talk or listen to music or what, because I have to work with them on Saturdays. So I'm definitely the type that's like, let's go grab a beer. Like, I'm down, you know, but a lot of the times I can't be that way.
Yeah, that's true. And I seen you did a video. You didn't do many more videos on YouTube. You still have it up. That reinforcement concrete project video.
Oh my goodness. You saw that?
Yeah, I saw it.
God, that was terrible.
You still have it up, by the way.
I need to delete it. I have a few
What was
other
that
projects.
one for? What would you need?
It was for my reinforced concrete class, which I don't even know how I passed that class. That class everybody was like, it was so easy. And I'm like, for you. I've never done this before, and now that I'm in construction,
You understand
and we
it.
have to deal with I'm just like, I'm dealing with all this rebar, and I'm like, okay, what did I learn? What did I learn?
That is hilarious.
Because I'm not like, obviously,
But you sounded like you
learning.
knew what you were doing on that video as you were explaining to me.
Of course, because
But,
you learn it for like 5 minutes, and then
Yep, out the window.
I'm just kidding.
No,
Your building
the
is
next
gonna be
project.
safe.
Oh, right. Yeah, definitely. She knows what she's doing, by the way. Your building's going to be safe.
Hey, I'm not the one that stamps.
But it's not that. It's just that's the way that we're taught in school, right? To learn whatever you need to pass the test and then move on to whatever else is next, you know.
Or it's not that. I'm being funny, but it genuinely is. Like, it was a really tough class, and I mean, I did a good job. I passed. I
You
did
got
a
the
good job.
degree at the end
I
of
got
the
the
day.
degree.
So what else do y'all want? You know, a lot of times it's just to have it on paper. Don't play like it ain't that. But she knows what she's doing, though.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely the type of person that always out for help. I don't pretend to be the smartest person in the room. I feel like I always had those types of friends that were willing to help. And if they were able to, they always tell me, if we're able to teach it to you, then, you know, that means that we know it. And so I got a lot of one-on-one. So my friends are definitely a big help in me making it through the finish line. Especially, I remember I had a friend, they're just like, we know that you're working. Like, it's cool. Let me help you with this.
Okay, so not only do you have your side hustle that you do and that you're going to expand, but you also are involved with the community a lot with different organizations. So you help right now. You are the youngest captain of one of the largest family breast cancer teams in the DFW, the Lolas.
The Lolas, yes.
Lolas. And they actually currently are doing a toy drive. Can you give me more details about the toy drive? Where is it going to be? When is it going to be?
I actually need to get back to you on those details. I've been telling my aunt.
You have your phone? I'll let you look it up if you want me to.
No, like I don't know where to drop it off.
Okay.
Yeah, like I need to find out where they're dropping it off. I think it's just going to be at the same place, but I'll for sure get the details.
If you can send me do you know the date that they have it to? Or are they running the toy drive to a certain date?
It's running to a certain date, and I think it's like the first week of December, and that way we can start passing them out the second and third weeks.
Okay, if you can give me the details, I'll put it on the description.
I sure will.
Hopefully I can get the episode out before then. Maybe not, but still I'll add it in the description for future dates. And you know, they do this every year?
No, it's going to be our first. Well, like, you know, we've always raised money to help people, like, especially around this time, but it's going to be like the first one that is going to be a little bigger for me because I'm doing it with my company. Gotcha. So my company is obviously a pretty big one, and I'm involved in an organization for Hispanics within Whiting Turner, and our kind of role was to find a minority organization, which I'm a part of one. And so I was just like, well, now I'm going to make sure that we team up. And so all these toys are going to go to kids who either have a mom currently affected with breast cancer or who unfortunately did not like make it. And we're giving back and making sure that they at least have something to open up for Christmas. So that's where it's all coming from. But I do have details, and I'll make sure I give those to you. It's going to be really fun.
And how did you find them as far as DFW, the Lolas?
So that's my aunt. The Lolas is my aunt's organization. We started this back in 2011 was the first year that I joined, and she had done it the previous year. She was currently going through her own chemo process, and she's a survivor. She's been out for over a decade since she was free, and it started off with like 15 of us. And now we're over 500. Oh, and we actually did our own nonprofit one. We just became a nonprofit organization this year. We'd always worked with different organizations. We always worked with Susan G. Komen. They knew us. They knew that we were the largest team. Like, they always had us on their banners, and they loved representing the fact that there was a Latino team because there's not very many Latinos that like go to like this type of stuff. So that was really important. And from there, I just started growing, and I kept wanting to take initiative in the team, and I always had friends. So every year my aunt would be like, how many of your friends are you bringing this time? And so I would always have at least like a group of 20 friends, and that was around the same amount of numbers that the other captains were bringing in. So she was just like, well, we would really like to have a younger person, be involved, and especially because I'm entering the age where we should at least start going to get checked a little more regularly, or at least having that conversation with our doctors. And so I am definitely that voice for women that are not quite there, because people always say, oh, well, just wait. It's like, no, like we should definitely do our part in checking ourselves and stuff like that. So I'm definitely more involved in the youth part of it.
That's dope. So I have a toy drive that I'm helping out with one of our pop-up makers. Like, she creates different pop-ups, but if you got anything, just let me know.
I sure will.
And just let me know where to drop them off. I'll make sure I take care of that. Not only you putting your degree into use with your job, but you also help with Habitat for Humanity, and you help build homes for low income. How did you get involved in that?
It's always been around since I was in college. It's an organization that has been around for a really long time, and they do really great work. So they within themselves, they do kind of like groups where like if you have enough people sign up and donate a certain amount or whatever, they'll take you and kind of put you in a project. They'll schedule you in. And so it's really easy. Like if you have a group of friends that want to volunteer one weekend, like it's perfect. It's honestly a really great thing.
They
They're
give you a
very
green
open.
shirt.
Yeah, like they'll give you like they give you a hard hat. That's about it.
Oh, yeah, they don't give you a shirt. Actually, I think it
No.
was a company I was working with. They made their shirts. They look
Yeah,
cool.
I need to get some shirts made because we're now doing it a little more frequently than
Nice.
we used to. But they are always looking for people. I remember when I started talking to the guy, he's like, you know what? Like we obviously need people out here building the houses. He's like, but we need people like you that know the office side of things, know how to get costs, know how to get deliveries, know how to get this and that. Like more of a project management role as a volunteer. So that's my next step with that organization is volunteering more of my office strategies that I've learned working under a project manager. So
That's dope. That's badass.
it's really
And
nice.
then you're involved with the Hispanic Outreach Program. Is that the same one that is with your company currently?
Yes.
Okay. And you're also involved with, man, you're involved with all kinds of stuff.
Yes.
I don't know how you got time to do everything, but you are.
I don't.
National
Sorry, babe.
Association of Women's Construction.
Yes, NAWIC.
NAWIC. That's how you say that one. And you started a program in UTA in your senior year, which has grown ever since, which was also an engineering program. What was it called again?
AEI, Architectural Engineering Institute. Because architectural engineering is brand new to UTA. It started in 2015, and there was only a handful of us. So I think before me, I think like 3 or 4 people had graduated with my degree. So we were still not ABET credited until I graduated. That was the first semester that we were ABET credited for that specific degree. And that was in 2020, spring 2020. That was the first class. And I think there was like 7 of us that graduated with that degree that year.
Wow.
So it was not very many, but it was fast growing, but I was always involved in like concrete canoes. So we'd build like a canoe out of concrete and we'd compete with like other schools. We competed with like Mexican schools, which was really cool because I got to meet a lot of people that I still keep in touch with in El Paso, Mexico City, UNAM, like all those universities come once a year and we compete with concrete canoe. So I was involved in that. I was involved in ASCE, American Society of Civil Engineers, anything that had to do with like the ship for SPE or whatever for the Hispanic Society of Hispanic Professionals.
Gotcha.
And so we just didn't have anything for the architectural engineering students because there was not very many of us. And we were kind of like the misfits because we weren't quite civil engineers. You know, they'd tell us that we weren't engineers, and then the architects we don't even talk about the architects because they are drama.
We don't talk about Bruno. We don't talk about the architect.
Anyways, I can't believe I wanted to be an architect. But so we just needed our own space, and we did this organization within our first class. It was me, Lily, and Mohammed. We started it, and we went to. It was just it was amazing. It was a lot of headache. It was a lot of work to try to get it started. But ever since then, like I follow them on Instagram, you know, and so I do my best to try to like help out here and there. I do get reached out. And anybody can reach out to me, honestly, if there's another female or if you know somebody that has any questions about engineering, like I'm more than happy to answer questions. But I do get asked to like kind of tell them like what I've done in the past, how I kind of did the transition. And so
That's
it's
dope.
nice.
That's awesome. So yeah, you have all kinds of stuff that you're involved with. And I'll put it on the description because we're not going to be able to touch up them. We're running short on time, but I have just a few more questions. Okay, tell me all your social media. Where can they find you? Where can they reach you at for you? If you want to give your personal one or for the Putas Paletas.
So that's my primary place is Putas_Paletas on Instagram. I also I'm Naomi the Homie on Instagram if you want to follow my personal page.
Twitter's different, but you might not have to worry about that because Twitter might disappear soon.
Twitter, it better not. But I am the homie Naomi. The homie Naomi on Twitter. I have like 2 Facebooks because I really don't know how to get rid of one. But you can find me on Facebook. I tried deactivating and then apparently like I was still there. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not good at this.
Your account.
I can log into both though. I don't know. Anyways, I have 2 Facebooks. Message me in either one. It goes to my WhatsApp. So I do have a WhatsApp app that I share with my Delola's team, those ladies do not stop. Like, it's all fucking day.
Turn off notifications. But ladies, she'll get back with you.
Yeah.
All right. So real quick, few more questions, then we'll let you go. And again, I appreciate the time very much. I know you're hungry. And Mr. Chris is going to get you some tacos or something. Okay. What is a lesson that you learned when you were young that would help you in engineering that you would tell your younger self that will help somebody else?
What is a lesson that I learned?
Yes. In engineering, doing engineering, that you would tell your younger self that will help somebody else.
Like, I mean, obviously it'd just be like the don't give up, but that's so cliche. I feel like it'd just be like, you know this.
Yeah.
Don't doubt yourself, like, you know this, because I feel like a lot of the times, like, you second guess yourself because you know that somebody else is guessing you because you are a woman. And so I would just tell myself, like, don't second guess yourself, like, you know the right answer.
Nice. That one was tough because you're not prepared for the question. I think I should give this few like yourself the question beforehand, but I like to get off the cuff to see what comes out. And another one, this one's a little deeper. I just started using it, and I feel it's still pretty important because it kind of helps you realize the state where you're at in life. So, and the reason I do it is because I do a mantra, kind of like a mantra, the saying in the morning time that when I wake up, I'm not immortal. I am mortal, and I will die one day. Not to scare me, but to realize that this is short-lived, and I have to do the most that I can.
Of course, memento.
So, at your funeral, what do you want people to feel about your life?
That it was lived, like it was a good one. That they have nothing to be upset about. That I had, like, I want them to be able to know that I live my life the way that I wanted to, and they should be happy that I'm able to go, knowing that I was exactly who I wanted to be, and I didn't stop myself.
That's dope. And thank you very much for sharing that one. That was a little deeper, but I appreciate the answer. So, I mean, getting your degree, having like 2 jobs for like 10 years, to helping with the family, to, studying, doing your work, and to be involved with so many organizations, not to mention being an entrepreneur. That's amazing to me. And Naomi, the homie, you definitely are a global Latin factor. So thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
One last question. If somebody was to Google you many years from now, whether it will be Google, search engine, whatever the case might be at that time, what do you hope for them to find about you?
Oh my God, I hope they don't find my my thing in Deep Ellum.
It's all over.
It's all over.
The
they're gonna see that and they're gonna be like, "Who is this ratchet girl that fights at bars?" No, I would want them to see me doing the like marches and protests. I feel like if they were to see me one day, I want them to know that I never went down without swinging. So it was always like, if they see something about me, I want it to be something that I was doing to help my community. It was something that I was doing to help someone, that I want them to see that where I would like, it's not very, like, how do I explain it? I want them to see that I accomplished something that was good for someone else, not just for myself. I wouldn't want them to have a list of all of my own accomplishments that, like, oh, she struggled and she made something, or I don't care about any of that. I want them to have a headline of the Putas Paletas girls at it again at another protest. This time she got arrested. Like, something that meant that I was doing something worthwhile.
For a higher cost.
Yes.
For the higher cost. Okay. I appreciate that very much. Okay. Well, that's going to be everything. Thank you very much for checking out another episode. Again, do me a big favor. Do me a big solid. Go subscribe. Go follow the podcast. For all the ones they put us on 56th place on 100 best podcasts, Latino podcasts. It might be a block to y'all, but to us, it means that we're doing something. So we appreciate it. So go ahead and do that. And remember, we are just like you. We are the spice in this melting pot that it is the world. Till next time. Thank you very much for checking out this episode of the Global Latin Factor Podcast. If you are enjoying the content and the channel, go ahead and subscribe. Help us reach our goal of 1,000 subscribers so we can bring you more episodes, more channel. Go like, go subscribe. Go write a comment. We appreciate it very much. Thank you.
What is Del Avigo? Walks like a pero but in fact is a flamingo. Coming to Havana, Henry from Puerto Rico. On a pirate ship, he don't know where do we go. The birds of the jungle chasing fortune and